So it's been a little while, hasn't it? Yes, the Windows 98 PC is back after all this time. 6 months almost, can you believe it? So why has it been gone? Why haven't there been any videos on the $5 Windows 98 PC? Well, because I've not really had anything to do a video on with it. I mean, that's literally the only reason. Some of you guys have been wondering, like, what's going on? Where's the 98 PC? I've seen a couple comments about it. And it's really as simple as that. I just haven't really had any content to make featuring this computer. But all of that changes today because I got a really awesome viewer donation from Hassan. I want to give a huge thank you to Hassan out in Morocco for sending me this package right here. Now, I was originally going to save this package for a dedicated viewer donations video, as I typically do, but I figured this would be really cool to unbox today in this video because of what we have in here. Because what we have in here are some French copies of various Microsoft operating systems and applications, including a French copy of Windows 98. So you can see why we've got the Windows 98 PC here today. Yes, we're going to be trying to install that French copy of Windows 98 on the $5 Windows 98 PC without using any sort of translation tool or looking up anything. I do not speak French. I don't read or understand French. Now, to be completely honest, I don't really think this is going to be that difficult of a challenge just because of how many times I've installed Windows 98. And when you've installed Windows 98 or just any operating system so many times, you generally get really familiar with the installation process. You just know what's going on, you know what to expect. It's kind of like muscle memory. So I don't really think it's going to be that difficult of a challenge, but we will see. Who knows? It's an MJD video, anything could happen, and something could certainly go wrong. But before we get to installing it, we gotta unbox the package first, right? And we will be taking a look at all the other stuff that Hassan included in here for us. So again, huge thank you to Hassan for your very generous donation, and let's get into this. So we're going to just slice the package from across the top here. And yeah, you can see the box definitely got a little bit damaged on its way over here. I mean, it definitely traveled a long way, all the way from Morocco here to the US. But let's see if everything inside is intact. Just gotta cut that last piece of tape there. And here we go. Okay. So we're just gonna take everything out, and oh yeah, check that out. That is a lot of Microsoft software. So that's all we got in the box. So we'll set that aside. And here we go. So Hassan mentioned in his email, I looked back over, that we've got some copies of Windows in here. We have a copy of Microsoft Flight Simulator, Microsoft Office, and Microsoft Works, and I believe a few other things. Now, a few of these are sealed. Like, I know that the copy of Flight Simulator is brand new, never been opened before, so that could be a topic for a future video. Who knows? And like I always say, guys, if there's anything here that piques your interest that you would like me to cover in a future episode, be sure to let me know. But again, we're just going to be covering the French copy of Windows 98 today. So that's everything in here. Definitely packaged very nicely on Hassan's part. It's just that the on its way over here definitely got damaged. But hey, what can you do? So yeah, here it is. Microsoft Flight Simulator for Windows 95. Brand new, sealed in the box, or in the package here rather, with the certificate of authenticity on the back. Super cool. So this will remain sealed for now. We'll set it aside. And we've also got a copy of Windows NT Workstation. Now, I believe, yes, this is Service Pack 4. So right here we have the actual operating system itself, Windows NT Workstation 4.0. Service Pack 4, December of 1998. And this one, I believe, is still sealed. Yeah, that seal is not broken, guys. Check that out. That is brand new. I mean, well, new old stock. I mean, it's definitely seen better days here. You got some cracks in the jewel case here, but that is still sealed. You still have that red sticker over it, so pretty cool. So this will remain sealed as well. We'll set that aside. I've actually not seen Microsoft packaging like this before, so this is pretty neat. So this is the copy of Office 97. Pretty cool, and this has been opened before. You got your certificate of authenticity on the back, and we can just take this out here and check it out. Why not? So you got a lot of documentation here, a lot of license agreements and all that good stuff. This right here is your manual quick start guide of sorts. It gives you a little brief description of each application and tells you how to install it. Most of the software is contained on these two discs right here, and then you've got AutoRoute Express Europe 98 on its own disc right here. So yeah, very cool. We also have right here, this is Microsoft Works Suite 99 in that same packaging. So we'll bring this out here and see what we got. So we've got 5 CDs. And finally, the main star of the show, this right here is the French copy of Windows. Wait a second. Okay, so let's just go through what we have in here. This is the Microsoft Family Reference Pack DSP 5 pack. You've got Encarta World Atlas version 3, Ancient Lands version 1, Oceans version 1, and Creative Writer. Hey, Creative Writer 2. We've talked about that before in passing on this channel. Pretty cool. Yeah, now we actually have a physical copy of it. So yes, you got a lot of documentation in here, and here are all of the discs themselves. So pretty cool stuff. Alright everybody, so that completes the unboxing of Hassan's package that he sent my way. Now I'm sure some of you are wondering, okay, where's the copy of Windows 98 that you mentioned earlier in this video? Well, to be completely honest, I actually don't know. I looked back at my email thread with Hassan just to verify, and sure enough, he did mention a copy of Windows 98. In fact, he sent over a photo of the jewel case, which looks something like this. Obviously, this is a CD jewel case, so it's not like the disc was tucked inside one of these packages here. I mean, we went through everything on video, so you guys already know what's in here. So I honestly don't know if, I mean, perhaps Hassan just forgot to include it. Maybe he decided to keep it, but whatever the reason is, honestly, it doesn't matter, because like I always say, you know, these are donations. This is completely voluntary. I am really appreciative of anything that shows up at my P.O. box, and this is certainly a really cool package. This is awesome stuff, guys. Like, I've never owned French Microsoft software before, so all of this is going to make a really neat addition to my collection and could potentially provide some future content for you guys. So Hassan, I want to thank you once again, but this is actually going to work itself out. Things have a funny way of doing that every once in a while, right? Because we still have a copy of Windows here. We have a copy of Windows NT Workstation 4.0. And we're going to be installing this on the 98 PC instead, and I think this is going to be a bit more interesting for you guys to watch, because I have not installed Windows NT Workstation 4.0 nearly as many times as I have installed Windows 98. So this could absolutely pose more of a challenge. We will find out today. But let's go ahead and set all of this stuff aside, and as I said, guys, if there's anything in here that you would like me to cover in a future video, perhaps you want me to unbox this copy of, or, well, not really unbox, but open up this copy of Microsoft Flight Simulator and we can check it out on the 98 PC, be sure to let me know. But we will set all of this stuff aside for now. Well, here we are, guys. Here's a setup that you haven't seen in, well, almost 6 months. It honestly feels weird being here, like, with this setup and everything, because it's just been so long since I've done a video with a 98 PC. Now, one of the things that I'm curious to find out about this is if the entire installation process is in French, because you may remember, if you saw my Russian Windows XP Starter Edition video that I did in early 2020, even though this was only available in Russia, the entire installation process was identical to a standard copy of Windows XP Home or Professional that you would buy here in the States, and it was entirely in English. The Russian didn't take effect until we booted into the operating system. On the other hand, though, I did recently install an Italian copy of Windows 2000 for a video that is in the works, but has kind of gotten put on the very large project shelf for now. And that was entirely in Italian. The entire installation process was in Italian. So that's what I honestly, if I had to guess, I'm going to suspect that this entire installation process is going to be in French. Yep, it's in French. Yeah, I'm sure all the French speakers in the audience are going to have a laugh out of this one, but like right here, I can tell what all of the options are. So enter is continue, R is to repair, F1 is for help, and F3 is to quit. So we're not a quitter. We're going to press enter to continue. And right here, it looks like it's identified the CD-ROM drive. So we'll continue. And this is, I think this is, because it says MS-DOS right there, 1024 cylinders. I think this is probably talking about an MS-DOS partition. Okay, this looks like the license agreement here. So we have to press page down, page down, page down a few times to get to the end. And then we press F8. So right there, OEM desktop FR, French, the 31st of July, 1996. And I guess that is the file name right there, 617.00008.doc. So we're going to press F8 to agree. And okay, here's our configuration screen. So it tells us, you can go through here and change the options if you want to. Here we can change the language, but we are not going to do that because, again, that would make things too easy. So we're going to keep it in French. And so it's standard PC. That's fine. I'm sure all these options are fine. What is this? Okay, this is display. So this option looks like it's automatic detection. We're just gonna, I guess we'll just leave it at that. That's fine. Continue. And here is where you want to install it. So we're going to install it on the unpartitioned space, which is down here. Well, the only option. So we're just going to do that. And we're going to format it with NTFS. So there we go. And we'll press F3, enter to continue. And okay, so we're kind of stuck in a bit of a loop here, and because I legitimately don't know what the last screen that I'm going to show you here is saying, I'm kind of screwed at the moment. But anyway, so right here on this screen, I know what this is telling you. It's asking you where you want to install Windows, what partition you want to utilize. So your options are press enter to continue to install on the selected partition, C to create the partition, and S to delete the partition. So we're going to just delete the partition here that I've already created. So we'll press S to delete. And so now we have non-partition space. So we can try to install it on the non-partition space, and then you choose FAT or NTFS. Now, it doesn't matter what you choose. You get to this screen right here, which I feel like this happened before one time. I think maybe it was in the NT upgrade saga, but I know it wasn't with NT4 because we were able to upgrade it without any issue. So it may have been an earlier version of NT, but it says, so the installation program, I'm guessing, cannot format the partition. And then your options are press enter to go back or press F3 to quit. So when you press enter, you just go back to this screen here. So I'm guessing for whatever reason it's saying it can't install on the partition. We can go here and of course try to delete this. Maybe it's too large of a partition. So let's just delete it here and then we'll create and we'll just do 2000. Why? I can do it on the number pad, but not on the... That may be a keyboard layout thing, actually. Okay, so let's do just 2,000 megabytes. That was it. That was it. That was the problem. Okay, so the partition apparently was too large. So we just did a 2,000 megabyte partition, so about 2 gigabytes, and that worked. Okay, so now it's formatting the C drive, the new partition we just created, and I promise, I did not use Google Translate or anything to figure out what that last screen was telling me. That was just pure, just guessing on my part, and that is what I'm committed to doing for the entirety of this installation. And right here, it's asking you where you want to install Windows, what directory you want to utilize. We're, of course, going to use the default WinNT directory, and right here, it's, I don't know exactly what this is saying. What is this saying? Oh, probably just the installation program will examine your disk and then begin copying files. I think this is the last screen you get before, yes, verifying drive C. The CD starts to spin up, and yep, there it is, copying files. Perfect. So really smooth sailing so far, guys. I mean, we ran into that little hiccup, as you saw, but that wasn't anything severe. We were able to just work past that by changing the size of the partition on the drive, which is great. But everything else, I mean, as I anticipated, I was able just to figure out what the setup was asking me, just because I have installed. Now, of course, I said that I haven't installed Windows NT 4.0 as many times as I've installed Windows 98, but I have installed other NT-based releases of Windows prior to Windows Vista, when the pre-installation phase began using the pre-installation environment, the Windows pre-installation environment, and became graphical as opposed to what we have here. So I knew what to expect going into this, but we'll see if that continues once we restart here. So I think I see this, which I believe means success. So that's good, and I think it's just asking you to remove the disk from the drive. So let's do that. Let's eject the drive, or not eject the drive, eject the CD from the drive. And we're going to press enter to restart the computer. I believe that's what that says, and yep, that's exactly what it's doing. So this is converting the FAT file system to NTFS, because that, if you didn't know that, these earlier versions of NT, unlike XP for instance, do not format the drive directly to NTFS. It will format it to FAT and then convert it to NTFS when you restart. And here's the glorious NT 4.0 boot screen. Yes, this is the boot screen technically. It is not really that exciting. I mean, you got the product name and the version number, SP1. We'll press OK, and DI386. We just have to wait for it to spin up here. There we go. Windows NT installation. This assistant, this wizard will help you, guide you through the installation process. I'm guessing it says something like that. We've got our 3 steps: collecting information, installing, and ending installation, completing installation. Now here are your options. So you've got typical, portable, compact, and custom. Let's go with the custom option here. We'll put in our name. Oh yeah, we are definitely not using the QWERTY keyboard layout, because that was me trying to type Michael, so yeah. Oh, this will be hilarious because I have a QWERTY keyboard. I don't have any other keyboard with a different layout. So if that was an option in the setup, I completely missed it to change it to a QWERTY layout, because this is going to be hilarious. Like, is this AZERTY? A-Z-E-R-T-Y. This is going to be really interesting because M is comma. And if you do, you know, M is basically, oh no, yeah, so this key changes because Shift M is question mark. H is the same. A is now Q, right? So those two swap positions. S is the same. D, F, G, H, I, K, L. Okay, so this entire row basically, except for the A, is the same. I do remember that. I have seen an AZERTY layout before, but I just don't, I mean, so it's slowly coming back to me here, but I mean, I don't have the entire layout memorized or anything like that, because I don't use it. Where is M? Okay, W, X, C, V, B, N. Oh, right here. Okay, so this is M. So M, I is the same, C is the same, H, A is going to be Q, E is the same, and L is the same. Okay. We have our product key entered. I believe it's asking us for an organization name. Is this like for work group? Actually, I think it might be for, oh, Zork. You know what? We're going to do Zork. That's what we're going to do. And this is your administrator password, which we can just not enter. This, I believe, is asking you for a startup disk, which we're not going to do. And then here's where you get to choose what components you want. So we'll just go through here and select everything. And now we get on to the installation, the copying files portion. So we'll do that. It looks like it's asking you to connect to a network. So we're just going to change this to no, which I believe is that top option there. And then here we go. All right, so now it asks you to select your time zone. So it has GMT selected as the default time zone. So we could change this if we want to. We'll just leave it at that. I've seen this same message before. I believe this is just letting you know what graphics adapter has been detected. So VGA compatible graphics adapter is what I'm guessing. And there we go, guys. We have successfully installed Windows NT 4.0. Isn't that awesome? And of course, not just NT 4.0, the French copy of NT 4.0. So we'll restart here. Oh my gosh, there we go, guys. Man, it's been a while since I've seen NT 4.0. I think actually the last time, was it the NT upgrade saga? I think it was. I think that's the last time I've used NT 4.0. So we're going to press Control-Alt-Delete. We've got our administrator account with no password, so we'll log into that. There we go. Welcome to Windows NT. And well, There you have it, everybody. We have successfully installed Windows NT Workstation 4.0 on the Windows 98 PC. Certainly wasn't as much of a challenge as some of you perhaps expected, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it nonetheless. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and get subscribed down below. Turn on those notifications if you haven't already to get notified whenever I upload a new video on this channel. And as always, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.